My name is Andrew Ferebee, founder of Knowledge for Men. I've interviewed over 350 experts on life, business, relationships, 3-time Amazon bestselling author, and I speak. Just wrapped up an event, had over 100 guys come out from around the world, and in San Diego. It was really fun.
And yeah, this is Nick Coe here, and I created Real Social Dynamics. We're the world's largest dating coaching company, doing 1,000 programs a year.
I've heard.
270 cities,
really
70 countries.
Programs. You guys played a really strong role. I mean, 4 years ago, I went through a really bad breakup, and I thought it was it. It was like, I thought my life was over, man. I thought I'd lost this girl. I thought I was gonna marry her. It was over. And I was just Googling, I was on YouTube trying to figure out, like, how can I get back up? How can I improve my life? How could I get back to where I was? And obviously I stumbled on some RSD videos where I discovered you guys, and literally it was like the only like content that made me feel like I can change and I can make it, and I could completely 180 my life. Because every single guy inside your organization has done so too. And then that really started and propelled me forward was RSD. And then once I started working on the dating life and figured that whole thing out, I was like, why not transfer these same skill sets to business?
That's exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I created a YouTube channel solely for that purpose.
Yeah.
Originally it was to create a club I called the RSD Founders Club, whose goal was to take the principles that I learned with Owen as founders of RSD and how we applied the skills that we learned while learning how to date and pick up girls, and how we use that same skill set and for the mindsets for success, for networking, for business. How to cold approach girls is very similar to cold approaching out of business.
Absolutely.
In fact, we even started launching programs for real estate companies, for marketing firms, for going to conventions even, and walking up to people at conventions as opposed to them chilling at a booth, just walking up and approaching them as their wingman, telling them what to say, what to do to start a conversation, gain rapport, and then get them to follow up after getting their phone number, but for business meetings, as opposed to the same process we do in bars and clubs for girls.
Absolutely. This whole thing of like approaching girls, and it applied direct. People ask me, how have I interviewed, you're friends with Tony Hsieh, he's been on my podcast. I've interviewed the real Jordan Belfort right after the movie came out. I've interviewed Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone. I've interviewed like Navy SEALs, UFC fighters, professional boxers, and that people always ask me, like, how do you get these people? And it's the same skill set that I was, when I was, approaching girls and just not being scared of rejection and just putting myself out there and just having fun with it. And people would more often than not say yes in the beginning, and kind of just like how we're talking right now. I mean, it's just shooting emails, having fun, and just sharing what I'm passionate about. And I have an audience and a following, and people are more likely to say yeah. But yeah, just the whole thing of like approaching girls, I just applied that, approaching high-level men and women to learn, get insights on business, on life, on relationships. It's really propelled me to where I am today.
Yeah, I think that I was just talking about this conversation a little bit earlier today with my buddy who's a dance instructor, and he was talking about how you could do this for artists, because a lot of people don't approach people that could help their business because they're afraid that they're not good enough, they're not ready, they're not at a certain stage.
What value do I have to offer when I'm so...
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that everyone has a very basic value that they can offer to come from the right mindset, which is that if you come from a place where you just have a positive attitude, you're willing to learn, you're willing to share experiences, you're willing to do something with the lessons that you share. Anyone who's successful loves helping other people get success, because that success just usually comes back to you somehow.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like a situation where you just put yourself out there. You just help as many people as you can without expecting anything back, but you're more likely to help yourself as well, not just in your business life, but also your personal life. Like, I've built this company by developing myself a massive network of influencers. When I come to this house, I don't even know, every hour random people come by and I don't even know who they are.
I'm like, what's going on?
There might be bit CEOs, there might be influencers, there might be music industry celebrities, but I want to basically offer everyone a chance to use the house for video production, networking, to be introduced to really cool people, figure out ways where I can help people for business, for connecting them, because that just is an opportunity for us to want to stay in contact and build that network, you know? And I think that's your network really determines who you are because you're inspired, or you're inspired by the people that you're around with the most.
There's that quote by Jim Rohn, you're the average of the 5 people you most surround yourself with.
I think that the 5 people I surround myself with the most are just my family. So I think it's more the 5 people that you surround yourself with on a regular basis in your business, kind of like are the people that inspire you on an operational level. The 5 people who you think are most successful, that you admire the most, that you hang out with a lot, will kind of determine your strategic direction of where you want to take your vision and your mission. And then the 5 people you hang out in your personal life the most, the people that will influence, you know, are you hanging out with people that kind of know you on a superficial level or on a very deep level? And are you going to be the kind of person that, you know, just networks with a lot of people, but you don't have that deep personal transformation with, or you do?
I think that's one thing I've learned on this journey, is that you can't just do it alone. And in Tim Ferriss's newest book, The Tools of Titans, Arnold Schwarzenegger wrote the foreword. And inside that foreword, at the very end, he basically says, I couldn't have done it without these other, he says coaches, he says mentors, and then he names a few other people. But just stating that, like, you can't do it alone. And with the support of other people, you can definitely like compound your success. You can get there much faster. You can get there in half the time, and I think you can get way more results.
Well, I mean, all businesses that are, say, in the spotlight, businesses that have made a huge impact on society, they've all required a massive amount of collaboration. And I would say that pretty much any business, especially if it has a very creative process, requires that. I mean, if you're just a CPA and an accountant, you don't necessarily have to have that. But if you have a team of accountants, you're going to end up having more complexities. But those complexities that make things more difficult also allow you to have that unique selling proposition, that competitive advantage. So what I've done is I created a company that's full of massive complexities that make it very difficult to replicate. And I've done that in a company now with 100 people full-time, 200 people part-time, and then 1,000 weekend volunteers who just volunteer at random events. And that's what I could have done in a very different way. Like my first 10 years of business, I could have probably made more money as a 1 in 10 person company, where I just had very few people, maybe me and my business partner, just working and hustling. But by building a very complex system, I now have a lot more free time. I'm able to leverage my time. I'm able to take a week off, go on a vacation. I also am able to do larger projects. And my goal was to try to create a company that was a global company. My business partner's goal was to try to influence as many people in the world as he possibly could. You can still do that as an individual. I know there's YouTubers who have millions of people who follow them.
Massive followings,
However, to get on that deep level, face to face, and transform people, which is what we try to do as a focus for the dating world. That's something that is something that we wanted to focus on and grow on a very hardcore level. And that required us to have a huge team.
So where do you see this going for yourself now? Because you said you work on some other projects. Are you like, would you say 100% of your time is with RSD, or do you have, is it 50% and you have 50% with other side projects, or what does your time look like?
We've been in business since 2002, so we now have a team of people that are able to run most of the company. I even have a chief operations officer that runs most of my logistical operations for my company. Is that something
recent? Was like an integrator type role?
Well, he's been working with us since 2004. And he's now somebody who started off as an intern, right? I trained him on sales, customer service. Then he became a sales rep. Then he became a sales manager, and below him, we together trained a team of sales reps. Then he started getting involved with managing instructors for a resident sales team. Then became an operations manager. Now he became the chief operations officer. And he did an MBA at the same time. Now me, because I have someone who's seen the whole process of the business, because I myself want to be very hands-on myself, I spend my weekdays at Harvard, where I'm studying as a student. I'm studying law. I also spend my weekends where I work on the company, but I also am working on a musical production, the story of real social dynamics to put on stage in the theater.
Oh wow. Nice.
It's something that I'm developing mostly with a lot of people from the Hollywood world, but I would love to get this on Broadway eventually. But it's a several years process. So, I mean, a lot of my time has been spent in New York now, where I'm networking and hanging out with Broadway producers. And the reason why I'm in town right now, in addition to meeting up with you, is tomorrow I have a musical production meeting, and I'm flying some Broadway producers who produce Kinky Boots and a bunch of other shows, and some investors and some operations general managers and some people from the show Hamilton, where I got to go backstage, and I'm flying them in town. We're all going to hang out with my local team. including some of the people that are here now. Like you have Tidy inside there. He's a famous DJ who also is a composer. He's worked with orchestras and he's doing scoring.
Wow.
But I'm doing this as a way to control my company's narrative, because we're always looking for creative ways to do things. So we have 16 YouTube channels with millions of videos every day. We have social media. We have membership sites. We have live event tours. I view that music and entertainment is the next way to take our company next level. We do parties. I mean, especially in Boston, when I was in Harvard, I'd have crazy parties every month.
Yeah.
But it was twofold. It was not just for business, also got super fun.
Yeah. You got to combine that lifestyle business wherever you can.
Yeah.
Do you, back to your integrator, the guy who was the CEO, did you try and bring in outside support, and then did you find that didn't work, or you have to breed from within?
I have a friend who is an executive recruiter who gets people into startups. He does a great job doing that. I personally have found that it's a lot easier for me to hire from my own customer base. People are like, wow, how are you able to hire so many people so fast? I email my customer base. These are people who are loving my clients' products. Yeah. They're loving my products. They're loving my programs. They love my services. So they already know what we teach. They're already bought into the culture. And as a result, I could get these guys to become interns or volunteers, then train them and grow from the bottom up. The biggest problem I found is you try to get people that say they have a skill set in one industry, and you try to get them to apply that skill set to ours. Now, I could do that for very boring tasks, like accounting, or basic editing skills. But I mean, if things are more creative, then that's where the challenge has to go. For example, sales and marketing, I've definitely failed externally. I've had to train a lot of these people from the ground up. And I started off with people who I just trusted, because when I look at people to hire, bring them to part of my team and integrate them in my company, I look for one thing. Do they have the personality type of a positive attitude, trust, loyalty, people that are easygoing, people I can work with, yet at the same time, they love what we do. And if they could do that more than anything, that's what I'm looking for.
One last question here. How do you keep, so you have a large team, so you had over 16 YouTube channels, so a lot of these guys that work for RSD, how do you, like you said, they're getting millions of followers, millions of views, how do you keep them from leaving and starting on like their own thing? How do you keep them within the RSD family?
Sure. So if you're talking about our creators, like our instructors, that's what it sounds like. So one of the things about us is we're the only company in our industry that's making millions of dollars. And we've developed a team, we call it RSD Nation, where we grow and we share those resources. We share the network, we share the leads with each other as a team. It's a family. We also provide a lot more resources to our creators by giving them not just a network and a platform. We've built their entire business lines. Each creator, we've trained a team of people from sales, marketing, etc. We also made it very clear that we're managing a corporate team. This process of creating creators is very much under our control as well. And we also have very solid incentives. So I mean, if they're to go off on their own, they're not going to take advantage of this massive network. Now, a one-man operation, no one-man operation is going to be making these guys 6 figures of income, at least the kind of these guys make. I mean, I have guys who are making high 6 figures as an instructor traveling around the world picking up girls. There's no way in hell these guys are going to be able to do that without us. They could try.
The logistics that you guys provide make.
And also the content is and the leads and all that is our property. And so if they want to start again from scratch, they could do that. But I mean, they're going to lose their team. They're going to lose their fans because their fans are loyal to RSD. And also because the content we create, we're always innovating. We have a guy who also is continually, my business partner Owen, he's continually taking our content to the next level, and he has a vision how he sees things to the next level in terms of content. I have that same vision in terms of business, and I believe that we're doing things that people just aren't thinking about. Our brains just operate very differently, but I'm very lucky from that standpoint. Having a great, solid business partner that is able to not just compliment you, but compliment you on a very high level. That's where things
to raise your standards. How do you and your partner, because what I have heard from a lot of businesses where there's 50-50, or I'm not sure what your percentages are.
We're 50-50.
50-50, where those relationships sometimes will split at some point in the...
Well, my business partner told me very early on that he wanted a situation where neither of us was replaceable to the other person. And so we, from the very beginning, built our roles and responsibilities so that mine was focused on certain projects And even though we have cross-functional abilities of one of us is taken out,
Yeah.
we still can support the other person. I think that our skill sets are so far on such a high level on certain things that the other person doesn't have that it'd be very difficult for us to replicate. At the same time, now we have a COO, we have creators. You know, COO could handle most of my workload and creators could handle most of his workload. We kind of replicated ourselves. That kind of helped. But a lot of it was about brotherhood. We wanted to create a culture. I mean, the people who I like working with are the people who I work with. If I don't like working with you, you're not going to hear from me very often. And as a result, you're eventually going to get pushed out of my company. But thanks so much for coming down from San Diego.
This is great stuff, man. Great meeting you. Big fan of your work, and it's an honor to be here.
Awesome. Cheers.
Yeah, great.